Hi everyone, we're here today to present you a lecture on how do you introduce yourself in Chinese from the perspective of vocabulary, phrase, and grammar. First of all, here are some vocabulary and phrase that you can use to greet and say goodbye to people. The literal translation for Chinese greeting, 你好, is you good. It is similar to hello in English. Chinese people usually greet others by adding 你好 or just 好 after the names of the people they are addressing. They are also sometimes use specific titles in their greetings. For example, when they greet a teacher, they normally say 老师好 with a slight bow of head to show respect. Students normally greet teachers first as another sign of respect. The phrase 你好吗 here is a common way to ask how are you doing or how are you. Here's one thing I would like to mention, which is a note to pronunciation of 你好. In Chinese pinyin, syllables are conventionally labeled with the tone with which they are meant to be pronounced. However, there are some important exceptions. When a group of two or more third tone syllables appear consecutively in a single phrase, all of the third tones but the final one are changed to a second tone. So here we pronounce them as a second tone even though they are marked as third tone. For example, here in this lesson, when 你 and 好 are spoken together, 你 is pronounced as 你, which is second tone. Here are some examples of conversation of people greeting each other. Like, hi Mario. If you want to say that in Chinese, say 马里奥你好. And then you would say, chocolate, how's going? 朱古力你好吗? And then I'm doing great. How about you? 我很好，你呢? I'm good, thank you. 我也很好，谢谢. That's all the things that you can use from the vocabulary you just learned. Second of all, I'm going to show you some basic vocabulary and phrase that you can use to introduce yourself and exchange name with others. One thing I would like to mention here is how Chinese people address one another, which is very special because of our culture. As a sign of respect, Chinese people often address others by their titles, such as 老师, teacher, 先生, Mr., 太太, Miss, and 小姐, Miss. In Chinese, titles are added after rather than before someone's name. For example, we had Ma Li Ao before, so the last name is Ma. In Chinese, it would be addressed as Ma 先生, Mr. Ma. So when meeting someone for the first time on formal occasion, Chinese people normally use the expression 您贵姓, what is your honorable family name? Which is the polite way to ask for someone's surname. So a more casual way to ask someone's surname is 您姓什么? What is your last name? What is your family name? Or on formal occasions, we would say, what is your name? 你叫什么名字? It's commonly used to ask for someone's full name or given name. Here are some conversations between people who are introducing each other. If you want to ask, what is your name, please? May I have your name? Would say, 请问你叫什么名字? And then you would say, my name is Mario, 我叫马里奥. If you want someone else's name, you say, what is his name or what is her name? 他叫什么名字? And then you could say, he's chocolate. 他叫朱古力. And now we're moving on to age and nationality.
Hi, I'm Xin. I'm going to teach you about the vocab and the phrases of age and nationality. Here are some vocabularies of age and nationality I want to teach you. Now I want to focus on the Chinese names for countries. 中国, China, means Middle Kingdom and reflects the ancient Chinese belief that their homeland was the center of the world. Many country names in Chinese sound similar to their native pronunciation and have meanings that describe the countries in a positive light. For example, 美国 America, because 美 in Chinese means beautiful, so we call it 美国. And Britain, 英国, because in Chinese it means brave, and hero, so it means the brave country, so called 英国. 法国 France, because 法 in Chinese means law, so 法国 is a lawful country called 法国. It should be noted that not every country name includes the word 国 country in its name. Examples: 日本 Japan, 澳大利亚 Australia, 加拿大 Canada. As a general rule, when the name of a country contains two or more characters, 国 is not used unless it is in a formal context. Okay, now let's move to the phrase. I will teach you about numbers. Here are some very simple number, 1 to 10. It is in Chinese is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You see, it's very simple, but now I will teach you some very tricky, like 20 to 99. How to count numbers from 11 to 19. The numbers between 10 and 20 follow a predictable pattern. The number 11, 11, is simply the number 10, 10, followed by the number 1, 1. As you can see, these two numbers add up to 11, 11. The number 12 to 19 also follow the pattern. And how to count numbers from 20 to 99? The numbers from 20 through 99 also follow a regular pattern. The number 20, 20, is composed of the number 2, 2, followed by the 10, 10. Literally 2 tenths. Now that we have a way to say 20, 20, we can make the numbers 21 to 29 using the same pattern as in 11 to 19 by adding the number 1 through 9 after 20 to say the number 21, 21. For example, we say the number 20, 20, and 1, then the number is 21, 21. The numbers up until the number 99 also follow this pattern. Now let's move to the phrase. Here are 3 phrases I want to teach you today. The first one is 什么地方? In English is where. 哪个? Which. 几岁? 多大? How old? I want to focus on the phrase how old? 几岁? 多大? In Chinese people, they have different ways of asking someone his or her age, depending on whether the person is a child or an adult. When asking children his age, one says 你几岁? However, when asking an adult about their age, you should ask 你多大? Or to be more respectful, you should ask 您多大? Let's practice the word and the phrase in some conversation. Sample A. How old are you? I am 24 years old. In Chinese is 你几岁了? 我24岁了. Sample B. My nationality is China. In Chinese, 我的国籍是中国. Sample C. Where are you from? I'm from Shanghai, China. In Chinese, 你来自什么地方? 我来自中国上海.
Okay, so now are some grammar for when you are greeting people. So if you want to ask, are you well or how do you do? The question format is statement plus ma, and the answer format is subject plus adjective phrase. So for example, you want to ask, are you well? In Chinese is 你好吗? And when you answering, so is 我很好, that means I am well in English. And the next one is when you ask back to people, the question format is statement plus noun or pronoun plus no, and the answer format is subject plus 也 plus verb or adjective phrase. The example is 我很好，你呢? That means I am well, what about you? And the answer is 我也很好. That is I am also well in English. And when you are asking people the name, so you should say what 你叫什么名字? So the format is subject plus verb plus 什么 plus noun. 什么 means what in English, and the answer format is subject plus 叫 plus name. So what is your name? You should say 你叫什么名字? And when answering, is 我叫孙玛丽. So that means I am or I'm called 孙玛丽. And the last one is pronoun or noun plus 们. They're referring to a group of people. So there are 3 examples. 同学 become 同学们. That means student and students. And 我 become 我们. That means me become we. And 老师 become 老师们. That means teacher and teachers. So now we are moving to more grammar. So Daisy will present the next slides.
When you ask someone's age in Chinese, you can see subject plus 多大. In this context, 多 act as a question word means how much. 多大 means how old. When you answer questions about age, add 岁 after a number to state someone's age. 岁 means years old in English. It can be omitted in a conversation about someone's age. For example, 你多大 means how old are you? By answering this question, you can say 我19岁 or 我19. However, this is only commonly used in daily communication. Use 是 to indicate equivalence. 是 means to be in English. There are many forms of to be in English, such as am/is/are, but in Chinese, all these forms in just 是. Use 哪国人 is a question phrase to ask about nationality. Country plus 人 to state nationality. For example, use 你是哪国人 to ask your nationality. And you can answer 我是美国人. This question just applies same sentence structure, replacing 哪国 with appropriate country, changing the subject if needed. What's more, there is another way to ask about nationality by using 不. 不 means no or not to be. 不 means no or not, and used in front of verb. Statements with verbs can be transformed into question by inserting 不 between the verbs. The phrase 是不是 literally meaning are you or are you not. For example, 他是不是加拿大人? To answer this question, there are 2 ways. For yes replies, you can say 是 plus subject plus 是 plus noun. 是他是加拿大人. Or for no replies, either use 不 or 不 plus verb, followed by negative statement. In this situation, you can answer 不是，他不是加拿大人. Now it's time for more practice. Well, how to say, are you a teacher? No, I'm not a teacher in Chinese. You can answer 你是不是老师? 不，我不是老师. Practice 2. Please read Li Lei and Han Meimei's conversation and answer the questions. Li Lei, 他们是不是意大利人? Han Meimei, 不是，他们不是意大利人，他们是法国人。李雷，他们多大？Han Meimei, 刘先生42岁，刘太太40岁。For the first question, 刘先生和刘太太是哪国人? Please refer Gram 4. 刘先生和刘太太是法国人。For the second question, 刘太太多大？Please refer Grammar 3. 刘太太40岁。Well, that's all for today's lecture. Please do more practice after today. Okay, thank you.